welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now, why do some people keep on buying things they don't need? Their wardrobes are full of clothes and shoes, many of which haven't even been worn yet, and their fridges are bursting, and they just end up throwing things away. And what about the obsession with buying all the latest gadgets? Well, on tonight's show, we'll be discussing why people waste so much when there are people in other countries that are much happier with much, much less. But let's get your take on it. Why do you think people buy things they don't need? And have we just become greedy in this country? Give us a call on 020-7686-6300, and you can also tweet Chrissy B Show. My guests tonight are Phil Hawthorn, who describes himself as a bloke who can cook, and financial expert Justin Bassini, and self-development coach Chris Brown. But let's first welcome Phil, who in a little while will be showing us how to prepare a dish that can use up common leftover food. Aren't you, Phil?
I am, yes.
Actually, not just one dish, it's going to be three different things.
There's three things, two things on one plate,
right,
and then a pudding that you can do in about a minute.
Okay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Chrissy.
So, we are a bit of a wasteful society, aren't we?
We are.
Why do you
food
think
especially. I think because food in the last 20 years has become so cheap. Although in the last 2 years, we've noticed food inflation is really biting home again. But in the 1960s, apparently, we spent about 25 or 30% of our money every week on food. By the year 2000, it had dropped to 10%.
Really?
So I think we got into the point of thinking it wasn't important. There were a lot bigger bills in the week.
So that's the rise in technology as well.
Yeah, rise in technology. We get gadgets, we get the ability to have great convenience foods, which you don't have to think about a lot.
And very
unhealthy.
We're
more time poor, but you didn't know what you were eating as much, because if you looked in the ingredient list, you'd see, gosh, there's a lot of salt and sugar in here, which is a cheap ingredient, of course. If you do it yourself, it's cheaper and healthier. But I think it's because of the fact that it got cheaper, that's why we became more wasteful. Also, some things like best before dates or sell-by dates, people would often think, right, it's sell by that date, that means I've got to use it by that date, and that's obviously not the case. I think now shops have changed to move away from that a bit.
Best before is the same, because I keep telling my friends this, they keep just chucking things away when it says best before.
Yeah.
And I said, no, you don't need to, you have to, if
You're
it says use by, you use it by then, if not, you chuck it away. But if it says best before, it lasts a little while after that, doesn't it?
It does, and it depends how you
kept it. You've got it from
it.
someone else too, it's not just me that's telling you. Thank you.
The sell-by date does annoy me, in that it does mean that you're more likely to go, and I think I prefer the smell before date.
Yeah.
You know, if it smells off, don't use it.
Yeah.
A lot of our cooking is designed specifically to kill off the bugs that are in food. If you think about it, you're much more likely to get problems from a stomach point of view if you have stuff that's actually not been cooked at all, like salads, etc., because they're more likely to have the germs that keep going. But cooking kills off bugs, and our stomachs are really good at killing most things. Full of hydrochloric acid, kills most things off. So, yeah, I smell before, I should say.
I do, I smell everything before I eat. It's a bit weird, actually. But tell us, so what do you actually do, Phil?
I run my own company, which is a management and team training company called One Step Ahead, trying to keep people one step ahead where they need to be. And in my spare time, I do quite a lot of cooking. And then 2 years ago, I wrote a book called Can Men Cook?
And what inspired that?
The amount of people of my generation, I'm much older than you, of course, Chrissy, but my generation, the males of the family often didn't cook at all. They'd go from being with their mum to getting married, as people used to do all the time then, to being fed by their new wife, to suddenly having to learn how to cook when the wife went away for a week to have the first baby. And then they'd get scurvy because they didn't know what to do. So it's... I think it was more that generation, and I thought also most of the world's day-to-day cooking is done by women, and I think women do get bored with it, because it can be, for some women do, because it's sort of repetitive. I know my mum used to hate cooking because it was just a chore, whereas a lot of men, blokes, do the showy off cooking, for dinner parties, etc. And
my husband doesn't cook. He makes a really nice egg sandwich, I have to say.
Well, that's a start. But if you can teach him to do an omelette, most chefs would say if you can cook an omelette, you can cook anything. And that's the first thing I did on the Ideal Home Show, was teach men. It was brilliant.
Really?
People who'd never cooked before, I got them to volunteer, which means you grab them from the audience.
Yeah.
And we did about 48 sessions, and every one of them worked. Wow. But about a third of the men did say to me afterwards, do you realise now she will expect me to cook at home?
Well, omelette all the
time. So they were annoyed. But you'd get fed up with omelette, wouldn't you?
That's true.
Yeah, you need to do more than that.
Okay.
But that's a good starting point. If you can do that, you've got the confidence to do anything.
So it's great that you're helping more blokes to learn to cook. I'm sure the partners will appreciate that.
But women as well. I think a lot of times women wouldn't buy an original cookbook like that. But if it says Can Men Cook, you might think that you've bought it for someone else as a present, but you could use it yourself. But it's actually, there's a lot of smutty jokes in it and things, so which men like, of course. They can't quite tell that there's recipes in there too. I've hidden them.
Oh, so they're learning to cook at the same time.
Yeah.
That's good. So tell us some few top tips that you have for not wasting food, because we're in about 5 minutes. We're going to go to a break, and then Phil's going to show us a few things. But tell us a few tips for the.
One of my favourite things is if I said intentional leftovers.
Intentional.
So I'm actually making them intentionally so that I can use them the next day. So for something like a chicken, which we had yesterday, which we're going to use in a salad on this lovely summer's day.
Yeah, finally.
Yes, finally. But we've had salad last week. We would think something's going wrong, wouldn't we? You'd want your salad deep fried. but if you have a chicken, myself and my wife will have the chicken for 4 days. So we'll have roast dinner twice by having twice as many roast vegetables on day one. Monday night, a rush night. Then we can have the roast dinner again, just microwaved. Third night, I'll then strip most of the meat off the chicken and have chicken risotto or something like that. And then fourth night, I boil up the carcass and we have chicken soup.
Wow.
Good old-fashioned
so one
chicken soup.
lasts for
4 days,
4 days. Wow.
for 2 of us.
That's really good.
If you had a big family, you might need a very large chicken or 2. But I always buy then posh chickens, because if I'm going to boil something up, I want to know where it's been. So I'd rather pay more. But you're paying a little more for something.
It's not that much more expensive,
and it's
though,
got,
is it?
Not when you're spreading it over 8 meals.
Yeah, and the taste is
4 days, much better.
Much better.
So that's one of the key things. And I think also it's to build in versatility into what you're doing. So I'll often make up, like on Saturday, I was making up bolognese sauce, just a lot of it. It doesn't take a lot more to make a very large amount than it does just for one meal. So we've got 4 meals worth, but 2 of them will probably become chili con carne.
Yeah.
And I think also meat like
and that bulks up the
bulks it up,
volume.
so you need a smaller amount. And I always use tinned beans because it's quicker, because I always forget to soak them, and you can get the chili in them already. But so that sort of versatility helps. I also think some of the baseline ideas are always to have a list when you go shopping, and never food shop when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Because
people say that all the time, but people still go shopping when they're hungry.
But what you do, you usually get snacky things that you don't really need.
Or shop online like I do.
Yeah, and then you've got to work with a list. It works really well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Also, bog-offs and those sort of cheap, it feels like a cheap deal. If you have to throw half of it away, it's not that cheap, is it?
No, not at all.
And we've all bought the family pack when there's only 2 of us. And you don't really need it, and then you're throwing half of it away because it has gone off. I just hate throwing stuff away. So shop well. I think if you can cook too, it is easier to shop well because you know the sort of things. Because I guess you might do this. You build up what you might have for the week's food, but then you know what to shop for. So you've planned that in your head beforehand, and it makes it far easier.
I actually tried to buy the whole month's shopping.
At a go.
Everything apart from obviously the fruit and veg.
Yes.
Just because time-wise as well, because I don't have much free time, so I just do everything online a whole month, apart from just the fresh stuff, and then just work that way. And I make these huge pots of chili con carne and spaghetti bolognese, not spaghetti, the bolognese itself. So
and
that saves me time. It does, yeah.
I've just discovered whole wheat spaghetti for the first time in my life about 6 months ago. It's much tastier.
It is, isn't it? I like it too.
And unusually,
we've gone right off the point, but it's okay. We'll just ignore us. We'll just
but it only takes the same amount of time to cook it. Whereas brown rice is 25 minutes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know why pasta, but a great way of getting
and
nice,
you don't eat that much,
food.
so you can last longer your pastas, isn't it?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm really looking forward to. Can you give us a little hint about what you're making first?
Well, yes, the Queen was crowned 60 years ago yesterday, I think, or fairly recently, and so a quick take on coronation chicken because it's the second day after we had chicken yesterday. I'll show you a salad with that and a very quick pudding. So simple stuff.
All right, so if you want to get your notebooks out, or you can press record, because Phil's going to be showing us some stuff to make with leftovers. So join us after the break, and if you want more information about the show, you can go to the Chrissy B website, chrissybshow.tv.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, and we're discussing why people buy things that they don't need. And just to go, before we get back to Phil, who's going to be showing us how to cook with leftovers, we've got a few comments here. First of all, Serena says, I think some people buy clothes, for example, just in case they need them, but end up not wearing them. I can relate to the food. I buy things that I like, but don't have time maybe to eat. I'm buying more than what I need, spending unnecessary money, very bad habit. Naughty Serena. And we also have, let's see, Oddie from North London. I blame it on the advertising. We are constantly bombarded with what we need to buy to make our lives better, and that's a lot of pressure on anyone. I know we all have a choice to ignore the ads, but it's really hard when they make it sound so convincing. Our youngsters are becoming more and more materialistic. It's horrible. And we've also got one more from Christine. I think people have just become too greedy in this country. Whatever they see, they want, even if they can't afford it. So if you want to tweet your comments as well, you can do so on Chrissy B Show. You can also email chris@chrissybshow.tv. Now let's get cooking, or preparing rather.
Preparing.
Because it's cooked already. We're
It's
just going to
cooked
throw a
already.
few things together. Okay, what we got here?
On our first summer's day, I thought we'd do a salad with coronation chicken.
Not a barbecue.
Not a barbecue.
Can't really do
Barbecue
that in
would be
here,
quite
no. We'll
difficult.
set the smoke alarms
Set the
off.
smoke alarms
Yeah,
off again.
okay.
So what I've got is, this is the second day of my 4-day chicken. And instead of having another roast dinner,
Yeah.
I've got some chopped up chicken here, this chicken breast. And what I'm going to do is just put some, this is a dollop of creme fraiche, which I think is quite an adult taste. And I'm making it coronation-y with a couple of little things. I do love mango chutney,
I haven't
don't
had
you?
that for ages. I have to buy some of that. So
Well,
you're
I
making
think
me waste money now.
I'm
I
making you
wasn't
waste
thinking
money.
of buying that.
But it doesn't go off, so that's fine.
Oh, okay, that's all right then.
That'll last for ages. And then a small amount of, this is actually a chicken paste. Sorry, it's curry paste.
A curry paste,
So
okay.
I don't know how hot that one is, having not used that one before, so I'll put a small amount in,
You're
safe
going
for
to try
first.
some first.
So it'd be me first. And as you can see, it just goes nice and yellowy.
Yeah.
You usually some people put turmeric in as well. But I do like it with creme fraiche. You can get half that creme fraiche if you wish.
Yeah. It's a
So that's-
healthier version.
That's going to be one end of the scale. Now, at the other end of the scale, I've got some brand new Jersey Royals here. Now, after the second week, these new potatoes get much cheaper in price. I don't know why, but they're about £3 a kilo 2 weeks ago. Now they're about £1.
Really?
Yeah, it's because the first ones, everyone wants them in restaurants
so
as well.
high demand.
Yes, but they are. I just made more than I needed yesterday, which is always useful.
Intentional
leftovers. We got the name now. But I'm going to make this with a mixture of some of the creme fraiche again, and some mayonnaise. And I don't make up my mayonnaise. I always would. I just can't be bothered even having the machine to do it. But there's a lot of really good mayonnaise.
Come on.
Well, chefs usually do, don't they?
right, okay.
Now, I'd normally, one of the interesting things you can add to this is spring onion, or if you want to do it the German way, you do it with gherkins, which a friend of mine who's a chef does.
Love gherkins.
Gherkins are really nice with it, but for the demonstration tonight, I've just used it with that mixture because it makes it a bit lighter having the mayonnaise with the dollop of creme fraiche. Now, what am I going to add to that? I'm just going to add some black pepper, actually, which always makes it look, if there's anything mucky in there, that's all right. You can always blame it on the black pepper. And that will be quite tasty. Now, what do we need to make it look nice? There's a bit of colour. I actually like these bags of, they look very wasteful, don't they, when you get a bag
actually, but
it's £1.
Okay.
It's £1, yes, everyone's excited now. So I'm just going to do mixed leaves here. And that's, I usually tear it a bit more. I've always got basil growing in the kitchen, so I'd often add a few bits of basil into this as well. But you can see if we've got little bits of shredded carrot in there as well, it looks bright too. This I always would do with other things as well, like fish. Now, I like to cook at home things that you can't have when you go out. So if you go out to a restaurant, you can't have salad because they always have hot plates. Here, I've got a cold plate, but you can put something like a poached salmon on here or a piece of chicken, and it works very well. I think one thing that's wasteful that we all buy and often throw away is made up vinaigrette. You know, it's made of salad dressings. So I always have these things that I use for other things, like putting on my porridge in the morning. So this is runny honey.
Yeah. Oh.
Honey is very nice because it gives you a bit of that strange taste.
I've never seen honey on a salad, I have to say.
It works really well.
Wow.
This is a bit of lemon juice, so instead of having vinegar, I've just gone for lemon juice. I always use olive oil. Olive oil seems to have got cheap nowadays if you go at the right time.
Well, I get mine sent from Cyprus from my daddy because he's got olive groves and he makes sure I get the first press and it's delicious. It's really nice.
The cold pressed and Kalamata olives, they're
lovely.
Gorgeous. They're normally just for eating, so you're getting the best quality.
I'm getting the olives and I'm getting the olive oil too.
And spoilt.
Yeah.
But it makes you live longer because it's got monounsaturated fat in it, which is better for you. And finally, this is my secret ingredient. This is called balsamic glaze, which actually looks very nice too. Now, chefs do this a lot because it looks pretty, doesn't it?
It does.
My signature bit on the end.
It does look nice. I think it's
so lovely. It's pretty. It's bright. Also, there was a fad a few years ago for colour combining in food, wasn't there? Do you remember that? And people, as long as you get more colours, you're likely to have more antioxidants.
Yeah.
So I always cook in threes, which always looks nicer. So I've got 6 bits of tomato around the edge. And now I'm just going to put on...
Now we're going to have time for the dessert. How long have we got left? Someone speak to me.
We've got
4 minutes.
We've got 4 minutes,
we
have.
We can. Okay.
So now we've got our...
this looks nice.
But it looks pretty, doesn't it? It looks cool. You've gone straight for your fork there.
Okay, I'll wait for the dessert. Okay.
That's very exciting for chef when you actually do that sort of thing.
Is
but you see, this is just cooking at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not complex. It's not scary and chefy. Anyone can do that.
And this is nice. I would have probably this sort of light meal in the evening when I don't want to have sort of lots of carbs or anything.
I don't like two big meals in a day anymore in my life, so it's quite a nice way of doing this. The poor sad banana, upside down smile, because he's the one that's been left that's gone a bit off. Why not make quite an adult pudding, right? So I realised straight away when I wrote a recipe for this and said, whatever you do, chop your banana in half. Most people do it that way. So you do have to be very precise when you're writing recipes. This is a good old-fashioned banana split, yeah? What we're going to do
and
is...
it's okay for it to be really sort of
it's
sweet and overripe and stuff.
Because you get the extra flavours in there. Now this is again where I'd use honey down one side. And then, believe it or not, this makes it look like chocolate glaze, doesn't it? Down the other.
Oh, vinegar.
It works really well. Now you've just seen me do sweet things in one thing you wouldn't have expected.
And use it in both.
So it works really well. And I think one of the things that goes nicest in this is a bit of balsamic, a bit of the creme fraiche in the middle. If we had ice cream, although it's a bit too hot in the studio, in your living room to do that sort of thing. I've also got some dried apricots, which look nice on that side. And then some beautiful, aren't they?
They're massive.
Lovely, aren't they?
Wow.
And cooking threes again. Now, does that look all right?
That looks lovely.
Can you smell it?
Yes.
We haven't got smelly vision yet, so we're working on that as technology. But that's just...
That does smell lovely.
Because of the balsamic.
It does,
and it just looks nice. Whatever you've got, you've suddenly got to put in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Do you want
that was so quick as well. Are you going to have some?
I am. Because it's always best to check that I'm not going to faint first, isn't it?
I'm going to try not to... I'm a very clumsy eater, but I'll try not to get it over me. That's really nice.
It does work, doesn't it? Quite scary when you don't know how hot it is.
Try the potato salad. So do you call it a potato salad? Is there a posh name for it?
I do know, potato salad.
Okay.
We're cooking at home, it's not Raymond Blanc.
Very
it's
nice.
Nice enough. Grab a little bit of the salad. You've got all 3 bits on it there.
I could be here all day eating salad. I love salad.
That actually feels healthy, doesn't it?
It does, it is healthy.
That's probably why.
I'll try the pudding.
Yes.
I'll just try the banana with the vinegar. What if I don't like it, can I say?
You can.
You're not going to get offended, right?
I might cry.
Let me try get a bit of the...
Bit of creme fraiche as well.
Yeah, I've never had balsamic vinegar on a banana before, but...
It's sweet and sour together,
That's
you see.
lovely.
Sweet and sour
nice.
in a lot of different cooking around the world, isn't it? Why not do it in something as simple as that?
The apricots work really well with it. Oh, it's lovely.
Don't they?
I'm glad we're going to a break in a minute because I'm going to have some more of this because it is very. I know I've
feels
got my
nice,
eye on
thank
that
you.
raspberry. Phil, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if people do want to know more about Phil and what he does, you can visit our website, chrissybshow.tv, and look under our guest list there. So, what are your plans for the future? Then you're going to come with this cooking and.
I think I should do a lot more cooking on
think you
television,
should.
isn't I?
Yeah,
That's my way ahead.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
after the break, we're going to be joined by Justin Bazzini, who's going to be telling us more about this topic for today, why people waste so much and how to stop being so wasteful. So join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Well, we now have our financial consumer expert, and that's Justin Bazzini with us on the sofa. Hello again.
Hello.
Wasn't so long ago you were here, was
Yeah,
it?
it's only been a few days.
Yeah.
I've been missing you.
Oh, thank you for coming back. So we really need to hear about your opinion. Now, do you think that the UK is a bit of a throwaway society?
Yes, it definitely is. And if you look at all the statistics, it absolutely is a throwaway society. So what was interesting is your email from one of the viewers. There's £15 billion worth of marketing in the UK every year. So all those billboards and TV advertising, all of them focused on trying to get us to want more stuff. So the way that marketing works is there's two halves to it. There's what's called demand creation and then demand fulfillment. And most of marketing money, most of the advertising that we see is focused on demand creation. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get us to buy the new stuff, right?
That we don't need necessarily.
Exactly. We don't need necessarily, right? And how many times do we take products which are perfectly fine, but they're not the latest one, not the latest iPhone or the latest iPad or the latest TV, and we go, well, I'd like the new one. And so the old one goes perfectly fine, and we buy the new one because the marketing people are telling us all the time, you'll be happier, you'll have a better job, you'll get more good looking if you buy this product. And it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? And actually, it is ridiculous. And so what I think we need to do is we need to realise, because what's really interesting is if you look at all the research, all the psychological research, buying more stuff doesn't make us happier. So we all have more stuff than we ever had before, and yet actually, if you look at the rise in mental illness, in people feeling more depressed and unhappy, that's higher than it's ever been.
It's avoiding the real issue, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, some people that are feeling a bit down, they try to fill that gap by buying more things, by going shopping, and they're not facing what's really going on. Actually, we're going to have a show about that next week as well.
Yeah.
About people that avoid the actual issue that's going on. But that is what people do. They buy lots of things because they're feeling a bit down, or something's happened and they just want to go and try to make themselves happy for a while, but it doesn't last. And then they end up with all this stuff.
That's right. And shopping is a great way to, at that moment, make yourself feel better. But the trouble is it comes with a hangover, all that stuff, the fact that a lot of people are getting into debt, it's costing more and more money. And therefore being able to realise that the marketers are trying to play you psychologically. Every time they show you an advert, it has been tested to the hilt to make you buy. And so that's the power of it. So it's really difficult to resist it. But what you can do is you can start to focus on things that are going to make you happier. So for example, there's a brilliant piece of research. They did some research they gave some money to students. Lots of things get tested on students. So they did it on in America, and they gave $15 to one set of students and $15 to another set of students. And with one set, they said, go spend it on a gift for yourself. And with the second set, they said, go spend it on a gift for somebody else. And then they measured over time who was happier, and it was always the group who had given the gift to somebody else.
Nice.
Yeah, because
send me that, please.
I will.
That's
yeah,
excellent. I'd like to
will.
write a blog about that.
I found it was really, really interesting. And what I think it shows is that actually, you know, what shopping is about. It's most often about you and what you want, and you're selfish. Yeah. Even when you're shopping for other people, it's, you know, the process of spending your money and things like that. And actually, if you break out of that and you give a little bit of money to other people and focus on other people's needs, that's actually a really good way of making you feel really great about yourself.
When you buy something really nice for someone and you see that smile on their face and that surprise, especially if it's not their birthday or anything like that, they're not expecting it, it does make you happy.
That's right. And so those little moments are opportunities to actually give something back to other people and therefore be able to feel better about yourself. I think the other thing that I would say is that, and we've talked about this before actually on the show, which is the relationship between money and time. And often, remember a Christmas show, we talked about this, that actually it's very easy to just spend and replace money with time. And so actually what you're doing is you're just using your money instead of giving your time. And actually what's really valuable to people in a gift and in our society and building relationships with people is the time. So actually...
Especially with the kids, right?
Yeah, especially with the kids. You know, instead of buying that great gift, actually say, well, I'm going to spend the Saturday with you and we're going to go and do various things. And so actually there's that dynamic of time versus money. The marketers play all these games, these psychological tricks to get us to buy stuff all the time. And actually if you look at money and you look at the way that those advertising messages go, it essentially is trying to just operate at the surface. And I think this is what you were saying around, you know, hiding the inner problem. It's really about taking some time and thinking for yourself about what is really going to make you happy and what's going to make your family happy and what's going to make you, you know, get what you want out of it. Because this is about being happier, and money and shopping is not really a way to actually make yourself feel happier.
I think this time thing that you're talking about, especially with the children, if you aren't spending, for example, that quality time with your kids or with your partner, for example, and you are maybe trying to make more money or trying to buy things for them because of all the advertising that you see inside, even if you don't realise it, you actually do feel guilty because you know you're supposed to be spending time with them, but you're just trying to sort of do the easy thing, which is buying the stuff and trying to replace that time with the material things. But inside, that doesn't make you happy because you know deep down that you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not being that family person that your family are expecting you to be.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not all about money. There was another piece of research that I was just absolutely fascinated by, where, again, researchers looked at people who had won the lottery and a group of people who had had a spinal injury and became paraplegics. Now, at the time that happened, so lottery winners versus paraplegics, who was happier, do you think?
The lottery winners.
The lottery winners, right? Because they'd just been given some money, paraplegics gone through a major health issue, you know, feeling bad about that. 1 year later, who do you think was happier?
Still the lottery winners?
No. No. They were about the same.
Gosh.
So, and actually, if you think about it, you know, we all often...
Why is that?
Well, it's often we crave money, right? We think, oh, I need more money, I need a better job. And actually, what happens when you, especially with lottery winners, what happens is all their relationships change. So suddenly, all their family and their friends who talk to them about, oh, can you give me some money? You know, can I? So suddenly, all the social hierarchies have changed, and they feel more uncomfortable because of that. And also, they end up often giving up their jobs and things like that, and then they spend it all. And actually, a load of them end up in debt at the end of it, because they just spend all the money and then they've not got a job.
Easy come, easy go, eh?
Easy come, easy go, right? Yeah. And actually the paraplegics actually go through, or people who go through a health scare often come out the other end and they've reassessed a lot about their life and about what's important to them. And that's actually allowed them to connect with the stuff that really makes them happier.
And they're still alive. And
that's exactly right. Exactly right. So that's a really interesting dynamic, I think, around, you know, what actually, some research that shows what actually makes us happy. Is it money and material things, or is it the relationships? Is it the family? Is it our health? And it's those things that really actually make you happy on a long-term basis, rather than just doing, you know, going to the shops.
Material stuff's just a tool at the end of the day, isn't it? That's
right.
how I see sort of my iPad, for example. I'm not obsessed with getting the latest iPad or even the phone. I'm happy with the phone that I have, even though someone keeps trying to persuade me, my darling hubby, to get an iPhone, but I'm not bothered because I have my phone and it does exactly what I need it to do.
Yeah.
And same with the iPad. I'm not bothered about getting something like the next step up or whatever, because at the moment it's serving the purpose that I need it for. So
That's right.
I think that's what we have to look at. We can't be, like you said, just be taken in by all the advertising and persuading us that we need the latest stuff all the time when we really don't.
And what I love about, you know, the way advertising and marketing works is that, you know, that iPad, as you said, is working for you now. Suddenly a new one comes out,
And one has actually, but
right,
I still haven't.
and the first thing we think is, oh, the one I've got is not really good enough anymore. And so actually it was perfectly fine on Wednesday, and then they launch another one on the Thursday, and suddenly it's not good enough anymore.
It's
and it's not doing, and that
it's not true, I mean, you know what I mean?
Right, and that is just the marketing engine,
Yeah.
us responding all the time to I want more, I want more, I want more. And actually, you know, again, you could queue up, you could get that iPad. You'll be exactly the same the next time the next one comes out. It's a never-ending cycle. And so actually being able to break that and being able to sort of take a step back, power of saying no, you know, getting a bit of self-discipline, really understanding
Give us
the
a
things.
few little, because we've got a couple of minutes left, give us a few tips on how we can say no. How can we sort of resist that temptation?
Well, the first thing that I always say is you can actually avoid a lot of marketing that's out there, right? So more and more people are skipping through ads, for example. So you said press record in the last segment, right? You know, if you're doing that, you can jump through advertising. You can download blockers, for example, on the internet that block out the adverts. You can start to, you know, deliberately flip over all the different.
Don't watch so much TV.
Don't watch so much TV,
show.
apart from the Chrissy B Show. That's the key thing. You know, you can actually start to avoid that stuff. And then actually start to really think about what are the key things that you want out of every product. So again, we heard in the first half from Phil about actually planning your shopping, so that you're not going and thinking, oh, I'll have one of those and I'll have one of those and I'll have one of those, and you end up with all this stuff that actually you don't have any room for. You end up needing to throw it away and things like that. So being a bit planful and being a bit disciplined is one way of doing it.
Good.
And always sticking to a budget. That's the other thing. So, you know, people more and more are getting into debt. Credit cards are very easy, so you can spend more and more and more. If you are doing that, you know, they're the warning signs, and just need to take a little minute, and take a step back.
Justin, thank you so much for all that lovely
Pleasure.
advice, and I really hope that's helped our viewers, and we'll see you again soon, hopefully.
You will.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Then. And after the break, we're going to be joined by self-development coach Chris Brown, who'll be giving us even more tips on how not to be wasteful. So join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Well, our self-development clinic has been taken over by the Coronation Chicken over there, so we can't use the normal space that we do. But we have you on the sofa, Chris Brown. How are you?
Yeah, that's great. It's really comfortable here.
Yeah.
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
Yeah.
So before we get into what you're going to speak about, I'd
Sure.
just like to answer a what would Chrissy do from a viewer. Has nothing to do with the topic, but anyway, we do answer one of these every show. And she says, I have a good friend, but she doesn't spend as much time with me as I would like her to, and I feel a bit jealous when she spends time with other friends. I do have other friends, but don't really make friends easily. What would you do, Chrissy? Now, I would not be so, clingy, because I have a very good friend too. And I have to admit, sometimes when I see her sort of spending time with other people, I used to get a little bit, not jealous, but I thought, oh, I want to spend time with her instead. But I realised that it's not a good thing. You can't be selfish with your friends. You have to learn to share. It doesn't mean that if she's spending time with other people that she doesn't like you anymore. That sounds like schoolgirl things, silly. But it doesn't mean that she doesn't like you. And the thing is, if you do get jealous and she realises and she starts to pick up on that, you're more likely to drive her away. So I would say take a step back, make other friends too. Spend time with your other friends that you have too, because you know when you get too jealous and you get close like that, it's not a good thing when you start to feel bad about the relationship. And also, I think that you were saying as well, Chris, because I read this to you before, you were saying it's like an issue within her as well.
Well, it's to do with herself, really. It's like self-appreciation, knowing how good she is, how great she is, and that people like her for her. Because holding to that one person, you're going to destroy that relationship. At the end, then you'll have no friends. So
it's not like it's a marriage or a relationship as such. So friendship is a bit different. You need to have your sort of boundaries and say, okay, now you can go and do your own thing. And it's not like when you're in a marriage or something that you do spend a lot of time together.
Exactly. I think she needs to concentrate on her qualities, what's good about her, what makes her happy, and share.
And don't be afraid of losing your friend. Just relax about it, just enjoy it, and you're going to see it's going to last a lot longer than if you're like really worried about it. So I hope that's helped you. And if you would like to ask a question, what I would do in a certain situation, you can email me on chris@chrissybshow.tv. And if you want, you can even send me a short video asking the question so we can show you on TV too, okay? All right, Chris, let's talk about what we're talking about.
Great. We're talking about the power of no today.
The power of no.
The reason why we're talking about power of no, linking on from what we just talked about just a while ago, there was a lot of areas about spending and not having the power to actually say no, but that goes even further. When you think about it, sadly to say, even World War situations have come from somebody actually saying no. And we get many situations where we want to say no, but we don't get to it. I mean, if you can think about it, the amount of times you must have said yes this week to certain chores, or like you're saying to me, you're pretty good at saying no.
I've kind of learnt to.
Right, you've learnt to.
Yeah.
Many of us haven't. We actually get into situations where we say, somebody says, oh, can you do this and can you do that? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. But it's one of the worst things you could do. The reason being is because if you do it, you're going to do it half-heartedly. You're going to be thinking about, I wish I could have got out of this, but I've said no. You have a choice. You can say yes or you can say no. Now, the thing about it, taking that one step further, is that we've got to think, well, why do we say no? Right? I've got 6 points here. Number 2 is like, why do we say no? Why can't we say no? Right? And one of the points is sometimes it's because we feel that we're going to offend somebody if we say no. So we'd rather say yes and not offend them. But when you say yes, you're catering more to somebody else's needs, but what you're doing is giving yourself a burden. And you sit there thinking, oh, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? And the day's coming up. No.
And you don't have to answer straight away, do you?
No, you don't. That's a very good point. You don't.
I used to do that. I was terrible. I was a yes girl, you know, anything that anyone asked me to do. And I'd just get overloaded with stuff.
Right.
But I felt like I had to give an answer there and then. But it's okay to actually say, look, do you mind if I just think, if you're not sure, do you mind if I just think about it and I'll get back to you? And that's fine to do that. And then once you've thought about it, say no, politely.
But that's quite right. And it gives you time to actually think about it. As you said, you're more in control of the situation. You know, you can't be pleasing everything. I mean, it's good to say yes, help somebody out, but you've got to think about your own situation as well. I mean, going to number 3, one of the points you just said a while ago was about the spending. Now, when you think about it, why would you put yourself in that position to keep saying yes all the time? Say yes to the salesman. You walk down the road, you feel you've got to buy this. You look in the shop window, got to get that, got to get that. You're happy for a temporary moment, just as you mentioned earlier on. But why? Because you couldn't say no. You couldn't actually say no and have some self-discipline within yourself, which is a very good quality. You'll find that you'll save a lot more. That's one thing. Your bank balance is going to be a lot better from saying no. No to yourself, no to the salesperson. And it's funny, I'm going to jump back a bit. I realised you were saying earlier on about the iPad and the phone, and it really touched me in a way because it's something I was going through today. And one of the things I've got is a Mac at home. And if you do not update it after a while, you are forced, once it becomes
obsolete.
That's right, right? Because the software changes and you have no choice.
That's very naughty, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Because after a while you can't do this on it, you can't do that and that, and you've got to move ahead, so you have no choice in that way. Now, could I say no to that? I'd like to have that power, but in that situation I can't because I've got to do with the work I do and update it all the time. So that was interesting about gadgets and that sort of as well. We're actually pushed into area where we have to at the end of the day. Now, taking that one step further, I was actually saying, I've got it here, I was just looking this up. In relationships. Relationships are a very good one, relationships. Now, why all the time you meet someone and you want to be pleasing and everything they do, you say yes to. Or everything they do that you don't like, you still say yes to. Or people get into situations where they're always being pleasing at the same time. Later on, that person's be expectant of that in the relationship later on. And then when it's level out and you want to say no, it gets very hard. and people end up in relationships that don't really work.
You can kind of understand it though, because you don't sort of, like, it's an insecurity in a way, because you're with someone, maybe you just started to go out with them, and like you do want to just please them and just make sure they don't go off with someone else or choose someone else because maybe they're not sure about you. So you do try to sort of do the best that you can.
Right.
But then, as you said, it gets you into trouble later because they don't know the real you. They think you've got all the same hobbies as them, and like they love, I don't know, whatever, and then you don't.
And you'll find that it'll be a bit edgy, a bit difficult then at that time. Oh, a person's going to phone you up in a while. Or before you was like, yeah, you're going to phone me up. And then it's like, oh, don't go phone me up, I've got to get out of this. Because you didn't say no, you didn't reveal who you were or discuss it. Not to say you just got to go, oh, no, I don't want to do no, I don't want to do that. That's not going to help the relationship. But to be able to discuss things and have the real you, the power in you to actually be able to say no. Now, how do I say no? That's the point what people want to really get to. After all that, well, I'm not saying you've got to be negative. I'm not saying you've got to cut off a relationship. You've got to do this. You've just got to know when to say yes. That's where it is at the end of the day. So how do I say no? You raise a very good point. Take time to think about it first. You've got a situation, work. Boss asks you to do this, do that, do this, do that. A lot of people are fearing this situation, but chances are they're going to respect you more because if you said yes to every chore that you was given, you're going to do it, but you're not going to do it with your full heart. You're going to do it half-heartedly. And when you do it, it's not going to produce well, which turns out worse for you down the line because every time they say, well, that person really doesn't produce that good, so we won't give it to them.
I had a boss actually, they used to just pile things on all the time, but in the end I had to I didn't say no, but I would say to him, okay, you've already given me this and this to do. Is this more priority than the other tasks? And then he would say, well, actually it's not, do the other stuff first. So that's how, so I wasn't saying no, I was just asking him which one is priority. And it really works. And then he could see, look, she's got quite, because he'd forget sometimes what he'd already given me to do that was very, very time consuming. So then when I explained and when I put it that way, then he kind of remembered everything else that he'd given me. And then he was able to say which one was more important for me to do. And then it really works.
So it's back to prioritising at the end of the day and realising which is important. But you said he forgot that he gave you that.
He does,
Right? But when you think about that, he's busy.
Yeah.
He forgot, but he obviously trusts you as the person who can do it. So there's a positive in that at the same time, just that he didn't keep check of what he was actually giving you all the time. So it's very interesting because one of the ones I mentioned, I was looking at doing this research, the amount of no's that come out and people actually get ill through this, right? We're talking about stress level that happens through always saying yes. Yes to everything, yes to everybody, but nothing for yourself at the end of the day. So there's got to come to a point where you've got to realise, well, look, this is what I want to do instead, okay? So we've got to know when to say no and when to say yes, and not for no's sake, just saying no all the way. There are times you are going to say yes, but you've got to know what's good for you. Yes, you've got to find a balance. There has to be a balance,
because you can't be sort of the other way and be completely selfish and, you know, not do anything for anyone. That's not a good thing. But there is time, I'm sure, to help other people.
Of course.
But it can't be also to your detriment that if you're already overloaded with stuff and you're already stressed and you've got your own issues, then you take on even more and you get even worse. So you're not going to do a good job anyway. So it's just finding that balance, isn't it?
Find a balance of both, yes.
And not to feel guilty.
Positive and negative.
Yes.
Yes. When to say no, when to say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again next Monday.
Next Monday.
I think we're talking about commitment next Monday, aren't we?
We are.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves because it's only Monday and we've still got another 2 shows this week. So thank you so much. And thank you guys at home for watching. And if you do want more information, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv, and we've got all the details of our guests there and also the upcoming shows. So we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.
How do they feel?
I can't even put them on.
Yeah, this one.
Okay, so I'm ready for... I shouted, sorry. All right. It's because you're far away from me, so I feel like I have to shout. Oh! Oh. Leave me alone. I'm not talking to you. Okay, I've done it one more time, Bianca. That's it.
No, Chris.
Yeah, but you said one more time, please. I'm standing on my own. There, I've done the challenge. I stood on my own. Forgotten how to do this.
You don't stick my leg up in the air like you mean.
I don't want to stop this one because it's so cold. Oh. There we go.
That's the show.
If you want to get in contact with...
Who? Okay.